let me say the following, or let me read the following, that you have been invited to appear before this ad hoc committee which investigates allegations that have been made by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanasi. You have been invited to provide information to this ad hoc committee in relation to those allegations, so as to help the committee on its oversight work and investigations. The allegations include amongst others, alleged unlawful disbandment of the political killings task team, otherwise known as the NPKTT or PKTT, alleged moratorium on the filling of vacancies within the South African Police Services, SAPS, and alleged corrupt relationship between leadership within SAPS and members of the public, as well as political interference in the work of the SAPS. In extending this invitation, the ad hoc committee chairperson has indicated that you may provide information to the committee if you so wish under oath in terms of the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, and you will indicate whether you want to take oath or affirmation. We want to bring to your attention that, or we want you to be informed that by law you are required to answer questions fully and satisfactorily. And these are the questions which will be lawfully put to you. Or you may also produce any document that you are required to do so in connection with the subject matter of the inquiry, notwithstanding the fact that the answer or the document could incriminate you or expose you to criminal or civil proceedings or damages. However, you are protected in that evidence that you will be giving under oath or affirmation before the House or Committee of Parliament may not be used against you in any court or place outside Parliament, except in criminal proceedings concerning a charge of perjury or a charge relating to the evidence or documents required in these proceedings. And please be aware that in terms of Section 17.2 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act, a person who willfully furnishes the House or a Committee of Parliament with information or makes a statement before it which is false or misleading commits an offense and is liable to a fine or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 2 years. Honorable Deputy Minister, you are required to take an oath, and then you will indicate whether you are required to take an oath or affirmation, and you will indicate which one do you elect. If you elect to take an oath, you will say, I swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth and so help me God. And if you take affirmation, you shall say, I solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing else but the truth, and so I do. Which one do you choose, Honorable Deputy Minister?
Oath.
You choose to take an oath. And then would you want me to read, or you just say it?
You can lead, Chair.
Thank you so much. Let me read it in part. You will start by mentioning your names in full and say that I swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth.
I, Cassel Mathale, swear that the evidence that I shall give shall be truth.
The whole truth and nothing else but the truth.
The whole truth and nothing else but the truth.
And so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. SC, I'm handing over to you.
Thank you, Honorable
So
Chairperson.
we shall run until 13 hours.
As you please. Thank you, and honorable members. Good morning, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Morning, morning.
Every time I say honorable is a bit long, so when I say Deputy Minister, please, it's preceded by honorable. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you again for making yourself available and for your 110% cooperation with us in terms of preparing. Your willingness to serve before this committee and share your experiences are highly valued. You've been a deputy minister under former Minister Cassel, and also more recently under Minister Mchunu.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
So, given the terms of reference of this committee that you are familiar with, you can offer us some valuable insights into some of the challenges within the South African Police Service, as well as what some of the reasons are for some of those challenges, which we will discuss. And then also you've got some proposals to make for the committee in terms of the way forward on how to address some of these challenges and to what the remedial action to take place.
Yes.
So you're happy with that approach?
Yes, I am.
Now, if we may just start off, as indicated, you'd been a former deputy minister under Cassel from 2019 until June 2024.
Yes, correct.
The role that you played under Minister Cassel, if you can I just take you to the...
There's no one in your contact named Minister Kelly, whose contact info are you looking for?
So when you have these fancy watches, Honourable Chairs, apologies. At the back of your, there's an annexure, CCM1,
Yes.
which is dated the 2nd of August 2019. This is a delegation of powers for you as Deputy Minister. Can you just take us through that and discuss some of these aspects that's mentioned in the delegation?
Yes, I can. Thank you very much, and thank you, Chair, for the opportunity to appear before the committee. The delegated responsibilities that I was given by the Minister were one...
Chair? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Thank you very much. I'm audible now? Okay. It was Program 1, which is administration for the South African Police Service. And the second delegation was being responsible for the civilian secretariat for the police. The third was Independent Police Investigative Directorate, referred to as IPID, and PSIRA, Private Security Industry Registration of South Africa, and the entities of SAPS, your DNA board, your DPCI judge. Thank you.
So, does this mean the scope of your functions as Deputy Minister, is it confined or restricted to these aspects that's mentioned here, police administration, public entities coordination, establishment of the Detective Training Academy, educational rural safety programs, women and youth development programs?
Yeah.
Is it confined to that, or
No.
or do you also have a broader functions?
I had broader responsibilities beyond this which have been stated here, and I will attend as from time to time as and when the minister will assign me other functions to do. For instance, we had a retreat where we took decisions that needed to improve SAPS, addressing a variety of issues, which I dealt with that, working together with General Ravi, who is head of the strategic division within SAPS.
So, can I understand it this way, that in relation to these 5 delegated areas where you, in fact, stand in the shoes of the minister?
Yes, I was
He
acting.
delegated those powers to you, and you can take and make decisions which obviously falls within the authority of the executive authority.
Absolutely.
But apart from that, you also interact with the minister on
Yes.
everything else.
On everything else. For instance, there are occasions where I will attend meetings that have got nothing to do with those responsibilities at the invitation of the minister. One of the meetings that I attended, for example, was a briefing in KZN. I think I went there twice, where we're discussing the political killings task team, for instance.
Okay. Okay. Can we just park that?
Yeah.
For a moment, so that we can just understand the role that you play. Just as a matter of interest, you haven't been you didn't receive any written delegated powers of authority from Minister Mchunu. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct.
Is there a reason why? Do you know why?
I will attribute that to the fact that the minister came into the police department and he had to familiarize himself with the workings of the department, which is quite extensive and broad. And since he came in to date, we were engaged in that process, which took quite some time, given the complexities of policing. And I think that is the reason why there was a delay. But I think we were almost at the tail end of those familiarization processes. Unfortunately, we are here and we have not yet dealt with that specific responsibility.
Except that it's more than a year.
Yes.
Since you were appointed as a deputy to Minister Mchunu.
Yes.
And if you look at the date on this delegation of powers, it's dated the 2nd of August 2019. I think it's 3 or 4 months after your appointment in 2019 in May.
2019?
You were appointed as deputy minister under Minister Cele,
yeah,
on the 29th of May.
2019, yes.
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 And in August, you received this delegation of power.
Yes, of course it was quicker. I mean, we must understand we are talking of two individuals who have got different experiences. Minister Kele was a former national commissioner of the South African Police, and prior to that he has been working as an MEC responsible for transport and safety in KZN. So he has been working in the space. And when I came in, he was appointed in 2018 as Minister of Police. When I came in 2019, he was already in the space. So he was fairly familiar with the workings of SAPS. That's why it was easy for him to quickly delegate the responsibilities. And I think Minister Mchunu came in from water affairs, and he was in the public service and administration. So he didn't have the kind of exposure that Minister Kele had, and understandably so. He had to understand how the system works before he could say, these are your responsibilities, and these are responsibilities for the other deputy minister. So he had to familiarize himself with, and I think he, now as we speak, I think he knows what needs to be done and what needs not to be done with regard to delegation of powers. I can attribute the delays to that.
Would it be unreasonable to have expected you, as the Deputy Minister to Minister Mchunu, to be closer to Minister Mchunu given his relative inexperience in the role? The reason I ask that is so that we could just understand the scope of which we can inquire from you what the issues are in the police and how close or not you were to some of these issues, especially the ones that gave rise to this honorable committee, which is the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mchunu on the 6th of July. So if we can just maybe understand that.
Yeah. No, when Minister Mchunu was appointed into the space, one looked forward to working with him, given the fact that we know each other before he came into the ministry.
Are you comrades or associates?
He is a comrade of mine. He was a provincial secretary of KZN at some point, and I was provincial secretary of Limpopo, though he came later on when I was almost about to exit as a provincial secretary. And he became chair of KZN, and I was chair. So we fairly know each other politically. He's my comrade, and I was happy that he came into the space, so we could start from where we last ended. And I did everything within my ability to be very helpful to him and the team. And it was not only me who was providing that support to him. I think he also had with him a legal advisor who is fairly exposed to law and to SAPS, even though he was not necessarily working in SAPS himself, Advocate Piccoli. And Gavinde has been a police officer, so fairly within the ministry there was that support. But also the National Commissioner provided the necessary support to the minister. So he was surrounded by all the people that I can say knew what needs to be done, and they offered that support to him.
So also just to understand, you said that Mr. Kabinde was a police officer.
Yeah, I came to learn that he was a police officer, so he understands how police work. I presume he does have that understanding.
Do you know that he also worked in IPID?
I also learned about that, yes.
Okay. And I think most of us know Advocate Piccoli. He had in a previous life been the National Director of Public Prosecutions.
Yes.
So in terms of the legal framework and so on, I suppose that was a help.
Yeah.
But can you just take us through, don't spend too much time on it, what kind of briefings did you engage in with the Minister in terms of just understanding how SAPS worked? The Minister was appointed in July 2024.
Yeah.
So say between July 2024 and the end of the year in December 2024.
Yeah. We normally what police will do is to prepare a handover, and for the new minister. So he got that briefings, but from my side, I briefed him about the Department of Police, which is SAPS, your Civilian Secretariat for Police, IPID, CIRA, DPCI, and the entities that are there. And that we have the commissioner, the deputies and the provincial commissioners who have been working fairly well with. And of course, I did say that we are not a perfect institution. There are challenges, but these are men and women that I believe we can make our own contribution to the fight against crime in the country. So those are the issues that I touched on in my briefings with him.
Yeah, perhaps I was asking more about some of these briefings that would have been structured, where you go to a meeting and presentations are made by various units and various sections within the police. Say for an obvious example, on finance and how the budget works and how that's allocated and so on.
Yeah, thank you. We had briefings that deals with the respective divisions within SAPS. We'll have briefings on visible policing. We'll have briefings on finances. We'll have briefings on detectives. We'll have briefings on DPCI, the Hawks. We had briefings on the Civilian Secretariat and briefings on IPID. Each of these briefings, for instance, those that had to do with policing, in the main, the person at the center of the briefings will be the National Commissioner. And the National Commissioner, depending on which division are we dealing with, he will then invite relevant people who are responsible for the division. For instance, if it's visible policing, it will be led by the National Commissioner, and in attendance, it will be the Deputy National Commissioner, Visible Policing, General Msikidi. And she will come with the divisional head, which is General Mamuteti in this regard. And the detectives will also have the similar approach, where you will have the the National Commissioner and the Deputy National Commissioner Detectives, General Sbia, who will then come with his components to that briefing. If the briefing also involves the crime intelligence, the National Commissioner will come with General Sbia, the the DNC and the divisional commissioner, which is General Kumalo, who will then do the detailed briefings of that specific item. When we dealt with human resource development, it will be the national commissioner, it will be the acting DNC of human resource, and then it will be the divisional commissioner who is responsible for that space. And in this instance, because the organizational design, for instance, falls within that department, that division, you will then have the study group that is responsible for organizational development, making a presentation on the structure of police. So we'll have those intense discussions, but all of them are led by the National Commissioner as the accounting officer.
And obviously during those briefings there'd be questions and answers and interaction, exchange of views and things like that. Now, what would be of particular interest would be the briefing on organizational design, the organizational structure and so on. That is where you discuss the various components within the police and so on. Was there any specific focus on any of the dedicated task teams? We know within SAPS, and in fact you must confirm with us whether some of these task teams still exist, like for example child trafficking, abduction, mining, extortion. These are task teams that we know were established.
Yeah.
To your knowledge, do they still exist?
Yes, they do.
Now those task teams, and of course you know where I'm heading, the political killings task team. If you discuss the organogram and the organizational structure, they wouldn't necessarily appear on the board or wherever the president. No.
Yeah. When a presentation was made on the organizational structure, we were discussing the structure in terms of what is there and what are the challenges that we are confronted with as a country, and will engage. And in the process of discussions with the officials, we then arrive at a determination, for instance, around the inspectorate, where we resolve that in terms of the structure and where we are, we need more men and women on the ground to fight crime. And we therefore resolve that we don't need to continue with the inspectorate, because the function that they perform is a function that the civilian secretariat, they can easily perform that function, because they do visit police station to look at their operations and their functionality. So we then agreed to do away with that structure, and the personnel involved there is going to be placed in different responsibilities. And beside that, we looked at visible policing. We had a division of visible policing, and when we discussed it, we came to the conclusion that yes, it's a necessary function, but the way it is structured, we also need the capability to put boots on the ground to deal with crime. And therefore, it will assist us greatly if we can separate visible policing and operational response which were made one, and we then separated them, and we said if we can structure ourselves in this way, we can become more effective in dealing with the problems or the challenges that we're confronted with. So broadly, that is how we discussed the new organizational structure, which was signed off, I think, this is somewhere this year, May. I'm not sure of the exact date, but it took a while to finalize, because you must consult with the unions and everybody concerned until you all agree this is the structure that you want to have.
Was there any discussion about integrating or reintegrating some of these task teams into, for example, murder and robbery? Because that is the one category component that you have.
Yes, we did talk of strengthening murder and robbery, because that's our biggest problem. You have many people who get killed in the country. One which it creating a lot of problems, like the killing of traditional leaders. The House of Traditional Leaders have had engagement with us around that matter. So, and it's that and the killings that are taking place in the country, the Cape Flats, we have been here, communities are complaining about that. So we felt we must strengthen murder and robbery unit so that we can become effective in terms of the investigative capacity of our detectives around murder-related crime in the country.
Can you recall when you discussed organizational design, organizational structure, and would the political killings task team, would that have been specifically highlighted? Would it have been specifically mentioned, or was it just mentioned in passing?
Well, it might have been mentioned in passing because we didn't, in the organizational structure, discuss political killings because it's a task team that was established to deal with a specific problem. Here we're talking about a structure that must define policing in the country.
So just in relation to the political killings task team, you were appointed in May 2019.
Yeah.
And you probably know by now that the interministerial committee was established by the president in May 2018. Mm-hmm. So just over a year later, you become a deputy minister. When was your first experience of the political task team? What do they do? How do they operate? Who's in command, etc.?
When I first became part of a meeting, it was somewhere in KZN, where a meeting was convened, and I was. I'm sorry.
Maybe put the mic up.
Yeah.
Then you can sit a bit back.
I was invited to a meeting in KZN where a briefing was done by the political killings task team. The interministerial committee of this team was taken mainly from the JCPS cluster ministers. The Minister of Justice and the Minister of Police were part of this ministerial committee, and below them were the operatives, where you had detectives and the prosecution authority comprising this team, which one might call a multidisciplinary team, and it also included the DPCI in that. So that was the team and how it was composed. The interministerial committee was the one that was politically responsible for the team in the 6th administration.
Would you, these interministerial committee meetings, they weren't frequent, they would be at most twice a year?
Yeah, no, they were not frequent.
Yeah. Would you attend these meetings?
I have attended 2 of them that I can recall, yes.
In your capacity as a deputy, or do you actually stand in for the minister?
I went in with the minister per his invitation, and of course, if the meeting is convened in his absence, then he will ask that I should attend. But what I recall are 2 meetings that I attended with him.
And at these meetings and the ones that you attended, you'd get a briefing from the political killings task team?
Yes. The operatives will be there and they will brief us about the work that they are doing.
Is that where you know Lieutenant General Mchunu and Lieutenant General Khumalo? I think maybe at the time he would have been a brigadier general.
Well, Lieutenant General Mchunu, I have known him before I went to attend the meeting of the PKTT. Yes, Khumalo, I met him for the first time there when I went to KZN, and there was a briefing and he was in attendance.
And what was your experience of them briefing you and telling you what they're doing, whether they're achieving any success?
Well, the effectiveness of the team is not in question. They did an excellent job. Since they were instituted, there was progress around killings of activists, what one might call political killings that took place. There were progress. In fact, the effectiveness has never been an issue that was questioned within the space.
And when you said it was never in question, it never rose at all in your discussions with former Minister Cele?
No. That question was never asked.
Beyond question.
Yeah, they were doing their job, and I believe they were doing a good job.
Okay. We know from former Minister Cele that the last briefing to the IMC, the Interministerial Committee, was in March of 2024. Was that before the elections?
Yeah.
So, did you attend that one?
Yes, I did in KZN, yeah, at the Provincial Commissioner's Office.
Okay. And there was, did it follow the same format? There's a presentation to the IMC, and there's questions, I suppose, questions, answers, and so on. And what was your feeling when you left that meeting as far as the political killings task team is concerned?
Well, the meeting went well, and I didn't get an impression that there are problems around the team. I think everybody was happy with what was presented and what they were doing.
Okay. So, just to continue along that narrative, since it's also our focus, then we have the elections, and And Minister Mchunu is appointed, and Minister Kele is disappointed. But we know, of course, why was he's given an explanation why he wasn't appointed. He was too low on the list or something like that. But what was your reaction to the appointment of Minister Mchunu?
Well, as I said earlier on, I was happy that he has been appointed minister, and that I was appointed deputy minister, and I was grateful that somehow the universe was aligned, that even though I have lost General Kele, whom by then we were working extremely well together, but I was given somebody else that I knew and that I've worked with, and I believed that we were going to make a good team.
Mm-hmm. Did Minister Mchunu have any specific discussions with you and or Deputy Minister Boshielo in relation to the political task team between July 2024 and December 2024?
Well, we have had. You come again with the question, Senior Counsel.
Did Minister Mchunu have any specific discussions with you or meetings with you and or Deputy Minister Boshielo in relation to the political killings task team between July 2024 and December 2024?
Yeah. Okay. No. I thought you were having a conversation. We have had discussions around the structure and the need for us to handle things in such a manner that we strengthen our capacities, so that you don't have to create task teams to deal with specific challenges, because we will have developed that capability within the police to deal with the challenges that we are confronted with. And it is in this context that the issues that we discussed around the PKTT took place.
In Minister Mchunu says that you can you recall having a meeting specifically with Minister Mchunu in November of 2024?
Yes, I might not. We have had many meetings with him. So
well, I'm talking about the task team.
That's why I said we did discuss the task team as we were discussing the problems that the structure and how we think the structure must be structured, and how we must strengthen certain units like murder and robbery, so that we are able to address the problems of murder in the country. Because the political killings task team, it's a team that came as a result of the murder that was taking place, amongst which are politically related. That's why it was called political killings task team, but it is murder. And there was also the problem of the killing of traditional leaders, which is not political. It is murder as well. And killing of ordinary South Africans, because either it's a robbery or gang-related matters, which is murder. And the rate at which we resolve these crimes is worrisome. Hence the need to strengthen the unit that deals with murder and robbery, so that we are able to resolve any murder that takes place in the country. And in that context, then the issues of the task team like political killings came into the discussion.
Minister Mchunu says in his statement at paragraph 84, and I think we have made these statements available to you and your lawyers. On the 21st of November, I convened a meeting with the Deputy Ministers of Police to discuss the various allegations against and other identified challenges within the SAPS. A decision was taken at that meeting that I would meet with Lieutenant General Masimola to raise these concerns and engage with him on the same.
Yeah, we have had discussions and we have agreed on various occasions that there are issues that the minister should engage with the National Commissioner and process them so that by the time they come to us, they will have processed those issues. In some instances, it was a meeting with the Minister of Police in the absence of the National Commissioner, and in other instances where the issue of the two of them interfacing, they were both present. In the presence of the Minister and the National Commissioner, I have said so on more than one occasion, that the Minister and the National Commissioner must process things. There are certain things that the two of them must process before they come and discuss with us, because it does not assist for us to go into a meeting sometimes with other deputy national commissioners and divisional commissioners. We discuss issues that they should have found each other on before coming to engage with us. So yeah, there are many instances where we have had meetings and agreed that the two of them must, from time to have engagement outside ourselves, because the absence of that will lead to misunderstandings amongst them, which can create a problem for us. And we are here now, I think, because of that.
But I don't hear you say, and I certainly can't recall hearing Minister Mchunu say that those meetings, those engagements, focus specifically on the political killings task team.
Yes, we have had a meeting where specifically we discussed that. I'm not disputing that.
Because he then goes on to say that on the 22nd of November, he met with General Masimola, with the deputy ministers, that's yourself, Lieutenant General Sabia, and all the provincial commissioners present. But he says the purpose of the meeting was also to discuss the ministry's deep concerns about the elevated murder rate, the escalation of firearms, including illegal firearms, drugs, and GBV plus F issues.
Yeah, correct. We have had that, such a meeting.
Yeah. Okay. At these meetings that you held in these briefings, did the minister at any stage give an indication that he's either not happy with the task team or that he intended to have it disestablished?
Yeah, he did raise that matter, that it must be de-established, and we had discussions around that.
When would that have been?
I can't recall the exact date.
Now, you know by now that the minister issued his directive on the 31st of December 2024. What was your, when did you first learn about the directive?
On the social media, that's where I picked it up. And then he then called, I think, was it, I'm not sure whether it was the 1st or the 2nd, but early January, that the letter that is circulating, he wrote the letter, because I thought it's fake.
Is that the usual way you learn about what the minister decides or has decided, that you learn about it on social media?
Well, that's not a right way. We have been interacting all along about everything that is to do with policing, but this specific one, that's how we learned about it, unfortunately.
What was your reaction when you saw on social media that he had directed that the political killings task team be disbanded?
Well, as I said, I first dismissed it because it was odd for me to say something like that. And when he confirmed it himself, that he wrote it, and we must not be surprised. I didn't understand what could have motivated him to pen such a letter in the manner in which he did.
When did you first see the full text of the letter?
I'm not sure of the exact date, but yeah, I saw the full text. It was early January though, still, and I read it, and I had a problem because the way it was written, it was very difficult to comprehend how that is going to be realized, the content of the letter, because it was saying that the PKTT is disbanded with immediate effect, and that a close-up report must be submitted or a plan by 20 January, and then a close-up report by the end of the month. It was not practical to do those things.
So how would one describe your reaction to seeing this directive? Shocked, surprised?
It was unusual.
Baffled?
It was unusual. And I mean, it was not exciting. It was just problematic, yeah.
Because you also saw, and there's been, I don't know if you want to add your interpretation to the word immediately. You saw that in the letter?
Yeah, I saw that in the letter.
And I think you may have said that you found that to be
I've said it's
problematic.
Yeah, if something is immediate, is immediate. It is disbanded, and then I need reports on this and that date that closes this unit. It was problematic.
Now, you had worked with the minister for at least half the year, from July to December, and you've also known him in another capacity, as a political ally, comrade. When you saw the text or read the text of the letter, what was your sense? What was your impression? Is Is this the way he communicates? Is this the way he writes?
Look, it was very difficult to really put my thoughts together as to what was happening to him to craft the letter in the manner in which he did. And at the time that he did, I don't know what was going through his mind and the circumstances that he was in when he penned the letter. It's I don't know. Of course, he has said so to you here that he was seated at home and maybe the environment was such that he could apply his mind and pen that letter. But I don't know what he was going through, because a strong letter is not a light letter.
Would it be correct to say he didn't consult with you?
Of course, he didn't consult. The only time that he spoke to me, it was after the letter was out, and he was saying, "Yes, I've penned the letter. Don't be surprised."
Did you ask him what the reasons were, what informed the letter, what his motivations were?
I didn't question whether it's right for him to write a letter like that, because, you know, when an executive authority makes a decision and pens it down so that there's no misinterpretation of the decision, he has made a stand. He took a stand and communicated that stand.
What was your, or what is your understanding between the divide between policy and operations? And you've been a deputy minister for a long time. You're familiar with sections 206 and 207 of the Constitution. You're familiar with the provisions in the Police Act, which prescribes the role, the various roles of the minister, the national commissioner, divisional commissioners. This is a directive disbanding an operational unit task team within the police. Could the minister do that?
The minister can communicate his views. Whether he's legally correct or wrong, I might not be able to interpret that, but he can communicate his directives in writing. And it's upon the recipient to receive and respond to that. And I think the National Commissioner responded in a manner that the immediate part of it was not operationalized, because we are all aware that the committee, the task team is still there.
So how soon into the new year did the minister discuss this with you? This is now after he's issued the directive.
I might not recall the exact date, but I mean, when we met and discussed, we discussed this issue way beyond January. That January has come and gone, and the PTKTT has not been disbanded. But like I said earlier, that there were discussions around this. For instance, I remember a discussion where the issue of General Khumalo came into being, that as we are strengthening crime intelligence, it will be appropriate that he focus on crime intelligence, and probably the National Commissioner look at getting somebody who can full-time attend to the PKTT.
Yeah, you do mention, and you'll see at paragraph 54 of your statement, that the discussions you did have with the minister seem to be more about the head of crime intelligence now also heading the PKTT.
Yeah, because that was the case. Even now, because that decision has not been made, that is still the case. But one was of the view that if we were to be true to what we are saying, it will be appropriate that Lieutenant General Khumalo be allowed to pay special attention to crime intelligence, because he is responsible for that. And we get some senior officer, either a major general, to take up the responsibility of heading the political killing task team. Because even Khumalo, by the time he was heading it, he was a major general before he became a head of CI.
But there was never any talk of disbanding or disestablishing the task team.
Well, the earlier discussions that came, that the unit must be done away with, there was a discussion around that. There was, because we were saying let's strengthen murder and robbery, and all murder-related cases be dealt with by the murder and robbery unit.
But you can't remember when that discussion took place? Was that before the directive?
Before the letter, yes. Before the letter.
So let me come back to then what was your reaction when you saw the directive?
The letter?
Yes.
No, the letter, I'm saying that the letter came as a surprise to me, particularly the immediate disbandment of the unit and the dates that were set there. That to me was a problem, because the people who can be able to say we think we can close up this through this particular process are the operatives themselves out of an engagement.
Were you aware of the fact that the people in charge of the operations of the PKTT, General Mchunu and Lieutenant General Khumalo, that they had not been consulted about the disestablishment of the task team?
Well, because the discussions we were having with the National Commissioner, for that decision to ultimately be implemented, it will necessarily need the engagement of all the role players.
Yeah. But don't you think that the minister should have consulted with them? They're the people directly involved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that the ultimate dissolution will have to take place after interacting with all the relevant role players. And this includes them.
The task team itself, was there any doubt in your mind that this task team was operating legally within the prescripts of SAPS, within an allocated budget, and falling under the authority of the National Commissioner, ultimately?
Yeah. I never doubted that.
Did the minister ever mention to you or indicate to you or give you any idea that actually this political task team is not operating legally?
Yeah, well, you know, the discussions around this, it was not based on the legality of the unit or not, because that was never in question. I don't remember a meeting where we discussed that the team is illegal or something like that. That never arose.
Were you at the January the 8th ANC celebrations in, I think it was in Cape Town?
Yeah, I was.
In Kalitsa?
Yes.
Did you discuss this directive with the minister at that gathering, or maybe even with former Minister Cassel at that gathering?
No, at the gathering, the minister was not present.
Did you discuss it with the president?
No.
Did the minister tell you that he discussed it with the president?
Well, he might have discussed with the president, because in our engagement we did say the minister must take the president into confidence on the things that he intends to do. So he must he must discuss with the president. Whether he discussed with the president or not, I don't know, because I was not in attendance.
Subsequent to the directive, and after you had sight of it or heard about it, read about it on social media, did you discuss the directive with the National Commissioner or any of the Deputy Commissioners, or with Lieutenant General Kunazi or Kumalo?
No, with General Kwanaze and Kumalo, no, but with the National Commissioner. In the meetings that he was in, we did discuss it, but not outside those meetings.
And as you were discussing it, what was your sense of whether this directive, which required the immediate disestablishment of the task team, where was this now going?
The immediate was it was not happening, because, as I said to you, I mean, if up to now the task team exists, so the crafting of the letter, it just made it difficult to implement what was in there, because it's not possible. Once something is immediate, in the day-to-day use of immediate, it's immediate.
Okay. And the other aspects of this directive, that the National Commissioner must have a report ready on the 20th of January. Did you know whether that was done or not?
There are things that didn't happen because of that. For instance, the issues around filling up of posts didn't happen, which had any, what one can say, a negative impact on the strengthening of the crime intelligence that we're engaged in.
So You weren't privy to the report which the National Commissioner gave to the Minister, I think it was on the 22nd of January.
On the close-up report.
Yes.
Well, most of the reports the National Commissioner and the Minister discussed them in our presence, but I'm not sure which a specific report you are referring to.
Yeah. Do you meet with the Minister once these reports are submitted to him and copied to you? Do you discuss them?
Normally, when there are briefings, they will make copies available, and we will then discuss them. Depending on the sensitivity of the documents, we will then hand them over. But if they are not sensitive, we keep them.
Now, on the 5th of March, it was an online meeting that you, your other deputy, the minister, and all the senior officials held with the Police Portfolio Committee. Do you remember that
Yeah.
meeting? Did you have a briefing before going into that meeting?
Yes, we ordinarily, before we go to the Portfolio Committee, we'll have a briefing. And after the briefing, we'll then go and appear before the committee. But in some instances, we'll just go to the meeting without having processed the document ourselves because of the time constraints that were there between the request for the meeting and the meeting sitting. But yeah, we do, normally we do discuss them before we appear.
Can you recall what was on the agenda for that meeting?
I can't recall what we discussed, but I know that at the end of the meeting, the Provincial Commissioner of KZN did respond to or make a comment in that committee meeting where he raised issues that some of which one was hearing them for the first time, and I was a bit uncomfortable with that.
Now, one of the big items on the agenda was the political killings task team.
Yeah. That I recall, yeah.
And the presentation was actually done by Lieutenant General Khumalo.
Khumalo, yes.
What do you recall about that briefing?
No, it was briefing the committee about the work that the PKTT was doing and its successes since inception to date.
And what was your recollection of how Khumalo dealt with the issue of the directive and that the minister had called for the immediate disestablishment of the task team?
Well, the briefing to the committee, I don't recall it talking to the directive of the establishment of the task team. It was just briefing the committee on the work of the PKTT.
And can you recall more or less what Khumalo said about, is the team being disestablished? Has it been disestablished? Because it's now on the 5th of March. The directive of 31 December 2024 said it must be disbanded immediately.
Yeah. No, that's why I was saying that the briefings and what happened vis-a-vis the letter were two different things, because here we are briefing the committee on the work that the PKTT is doing. It was not a report that was saying the PKTT is being de-established.
Were you surprised by that?
No, I was not surprised because we were there, we were briefing the committee, and I was part of the briefings, even though it was done by Khumalo. But he was doing it on behalf of all of us.
But were you not surprised that you didn't hear them talk about the immediate disbandment of the PKTT? But he was talking about a transition or a phasing out approach.
No, I was not.
Okay. And then you also heard Lieutenant General Mchunu speak in that meeting.
Yes.
Do you recall clearly listening to what he had to say and that he was not happy with the state of affairs surrounding the task team?
Yeah, he raised issues and including what he has a problem with about people who seems to be having the ear of the minister, who seems to be having more information than what other people have.
At the conclusion of that meeting, or rather after that meeting, there was another meeting the very next day on the 6th of March. Did you attend that meeting?
Yes.
Where a further presentation was made by Khumalo, by the senior police?
About the senior police?
Yeah, by the senior management.
Okay.
Khumalo, yes.
You know, there's a meeting that I missed, which General Khumalo had, where he was briefing about the drug cartels. That I did not attend. So I'm not sure whether
you can't recall attending that meeting?
No, that one I didn't attend.
Okay. Did you attend the meeting on the 27th of March? There was a further briefing on the 27th of March.
Yeah, I did, yes.
You think or you know?
Well, I'm not sure, but if you can assist me, to recall what the events.
Well, in terms of assisting you, I think your PA had mentioned during a consultation that you were at that meeting, but you didn't have there was no minute of that meeting because the minute had never been approved. So you're unable to provide us with a minute of the meeting.
Oh, yeah.
But that you were at that meeting.
Yes, I recall that, yes.
So you were at the meeting.
Yeah.
Can you recall that Minister Mchunu was, to quote both General Masemola and Lieutenant General Mchunu, was very angry that the PKTT was not closed and was not being closed. It wasn't being disestablished in accordance with his directive.
Yeah. He was dissatisfied, yes. I recall that.
You prefer the word dissatisfied. Shall we add that word now also to our lexicon? Was he very angry or was he dissatisfied?
He was dissatisfied.
Very dissatisfied.
He was dissatisfied, Senior Counsel.
You're just being diplomatic.
No, not really.
He wasn't happy.
He was dissatisfied.
So, because now we at the end of March. The directive is end of December. And I suppose this is what you almost predicted or thought at the time when you saw the directive, that this is not going to happen.
Yeah, the directive is the way the note was crafted was problematic. So
Yeah.
we are in March, now we are in October. We are still in the same situation.
Yeah. Can you recall what the reaction was of the Minister's Chief of Staff?
Normally they comment less in our meetings, so I can't recall in this instance whether I said anything.
Okay. Now, when you were Deputy Minister to former Minister Cassel, can you recall who the senior officers were that were heading the organization? The National Commissioner, Divisional Commissioners, section heads and so on?
Yeah, yes I do.
Are you able to name them?
The National Commissioner was General Stoller. Excuse me. The head of Deputy National Commissioner Detectives was General Mfaze. May his soul rest in peace, because he has since passed on. And you had Deputy National Commissioner Policing, General Masemola. And Deputy National Commissioner Human Resource, General Vuma, who is currently under suspension. Yeah.
And crime intelligence?
When I arrived there was General Jacobs, who was later removed. And then General Kumalo came in.
Yeah.
But Kumalo came in later on. But it was General Jacobs during Stoller's time. But he left that responsibility while General Stoller was still in the service.
What was Minister Cele's relationship, or your relationship with former National Commissioner Sithole?
Well, my relationship with the minister was excellent. Of course, I didn't know what it will be like when I was appointed there, because I knew him at a distance. But when I came to work with him, we established a good working relationship. Maybe I should say I don't have problems with working with other people. I acclimatize easily. But of course, the relationship between the minister and General Stoller, it was not okay, because at some point I think General Stoller had to leave SAPS.
Yeah. And General Masemola?
General Cassel and General Masemola related very well. And I also relate very well with the National Commissioner.
And we now know about the press conference of Lieutenant General Kunazi, which we'll deal with finally. Did these issues or problems highlighted by Lieutenant General Kunazi, did they manifest in that period when you were Deputy Minister under Minister Cele?
No, we never experienced that posture from General Mkhwanazi. But of course, when I was listening to some of the proceedings here, even though I didn't follow everything, there was an indication that he wanted to engage with the minister. But that platform was not provided. And I guess that is what might have motivated him, because he couldn't get an outlet to raise his issues, to do what he did.
Because one gets the impression that that what Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi highlighted in his media briefing on the 6th of July had been there for quite a long time and had been simmering and festering within SAPS for a long time, and had now come to the fore to the extent that he found it now unacceptable. So it's not something that just arose on the 5th of July and now he's having a media briefing on the 6th of July.
I think if he was given the opportunity to engage with the executive authority, probably will not have arrived where we are. There have been differences of opinion even when Minister Cele was in the space. Police did not necessarily see things the same way, but it never went to an extent that one of the officers could want to vent their frustrations, the manner in which General Mkhwanazi did. And the differences that he spoke about, I'm convinced that should he has been given an ear, there should have been a way to manage what we find ourselves with. In fact, the interface between the executive authority and the accounting officer, if it was stronger, we would not have arrived here.
But we've heard evidence, we heard the evidence of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi. Here we've also heard his evidence at the Matlanga Commission that his press conference on the 6th of July was a last desperate attempt to highlight these issues. He has done so, he's tried to do so. We know of a WhatsApp that he sent to Minister Mchunu on the 4th of April, I think 4th of April, where he implores the minister to meet with him. In fact, meet with him, meet with the National Commissioner, the deputies, Sabia, and also with a man by the name of Brown Mahotsi. And the minister responded and say, okay, I acknowledge receipt of your WhatsApp and I'll revert, I'll get back to you, and he never did. What do you do in that instance?
That's why I'm saying that if he had been given an audience, I think would not have been here. But because he didn't get an outlet, we thought it would be right for him to do what he did. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but I think it could have been avoided.
Yeah, I mean, if we look objectively at the events, he's always been heading this political task team, isn't it?
Ask his?
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi.
Yeah.
He's always been, that's his project. And you know that from the first time when you interacted with the Interministerial Committee, the presentations done by him and Khumalo.
I don't know whether it will be correct to say that is his project. It happens to be in KZN. But I can say it's the president's project because the president initiated a process that led to the formation of this team. And obviously the team is established in a province. And in a province you have got a provincial commissioner who then is responsible for policing matters in that province. And the political task team being established in KZN, which is under the jurisdiction of the Provincial Commissioner General Mkhwanazi, is logic that he has to oversee that. Maybe in that context you can say it's his baby, but that does not remove the fact that it's a presidential intervention to a problem that was confronting our people in that part of the country.
Yes, I think we accept it's common cause that it was a presidential initiative, but it was then operationalized.
Yeah.
And ultimately the National Commissioner would have been responsible for that.
Of course. Yeah.
But the person we know who was at the forefront of this was Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi.
Yeah.
He appointed Khumalo as the project leader.
Yeah.
But I think why I mentioned this, I don't think we need to spend any more time on it, is that the Minister Mchunu, never consulted Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, given his prominent role on the task team, before he issued a directive to disestablish the team.
Senior Counsel, even if that was not the case, but if he has reached out wanting to ask for a meeting, why not? You give him, you grant him that. We meet with people not because of their position, but because they request for a meeting. Then you accede when you have time to do so.
Okay. But I don't understand, because was there any reason for Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi to reach out to Minister Mchunu when he had absolutely no idea that he actually intended to disestablish the task team?
But General Mkhwanazi is a provincial commissioner. If he asks to see the minister, I see no reason why the minister can't meet him.
But for what purpose? I mean, he would meet with the minister and the national commissioner in relation to matters generally affecting KZN. If he was the provincial commissioner there, they would meet perhaps at some of these briefings you referred to.
Yeah.
But if he's got no idea that the minister actually wants to disestablish the team, why would he specifically request a meeting with the minister?
General Mkhwanazi?
Yes.
Well, I don't know why he wanted to meet him, but from the clip that I heard you play here, he was asking for a meeting, and I'm saying he should have been granted the meeting.
No, that was after the directive. I'm not sure whether we misunderstanding each other. Okay. The WhatsApp he sent was on the 4th of April of 2025, which is just under 4 months after the directive. Before that, he didn't ask to speak to the minister specifically.
Okay.
He obviously didn't know what was going on in the minister's head about this task team.
Okay.
Because you seem to indicate, well, maybe the media briefing on the 6th of July was a step too far and was a bit too drastic, because he should have raised these issues maybe in the form of a grievance with the minister or the national commissioner before going public.
Well, because he says he did that because he didn't get the opportunity to raise the things that he wanted to raise with the relevant people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said it was a last resort.
Yes. So if they've given him a hearing, it will not have happened.
But do you accept that he had done what he could to address these issues before going public?
Yeah, I accept that.
You do?
Yeah.
Now, there was a WhatsApp. Go to paragraph 11 of your statement. Sorry, is it? No. Oh, sorry. Is it not in your statement? Yeah. I think we shared a WhatsApp with you that was exchanged between General Sabia and a deputy minister. It's not clear.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can tell us, is that a reference to you, or is it a reference to your colleague, Deputy Minister Boshielo? It's dated the 16th of October 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And it reads as follows. Good afternoon, DM. I don't know if that's a reference to Deputy Minister, Deputy Minister Mashale.
No, it just means Deputy Minister, and it can be any Deputy Minister, not necessarily...
well, the question is it you?
No.
You don't know, maybe if you look at the contents, and you can tell us whether you're aware of this. A source has indicated that CI, that's crime intelligence, has procured new spyware equipment to the value of 13 million rands over the past weekend. The equipment was sourced from China and did not follow the normal processes, e.g. minister needs to sign for anything above 10 million. Furthermore, it was reported that this equipment was obtained on the instruction of former Minister Bheki Cele. Therefore, only a handful of individuals are privy to the details of the procurement and its usage. They include the current DivCom, the Secret Service Account Head, and Supply Chain Head, and a tech specialist. It is believed that the usage of said equipment will be for political purposes, targeting ANC leadership. And then as comments, DM should take note of the above and exercise vigilance with any type of electronic communications, such as cell phones, emails, etc. Then there's also a mention of Comrade Matabula.
Yeah, Senior Counsel, if you follow the content of that message, it's clear that the person who wrote it is peddling information, and if you receive such a message, you dismiss it, because it says that for any amount above, is it 30 or 20, 10 million, you need the authority of the minister. There's no such a thing. There's no such a thing. The minister has no role in procurement. Whether it's for 1 cent or for whatever amount, the minister have no opinion. It's the responsibility of supply chain, if there is a person who have authority, is the accounting officer. So you can see that the person who wrote that thing have no clue. And you can take that information and approach the National Commissioner, for instance, with it. The National Commissioner, his first reaction will be, this one does not know his or her responsibilities, because the minister have no role to play. And you see they also bring Minister Kele into the picture. The intention is not good of the writer. So the long and short of it is that I didn't receive that. And if I did, I will not have forwarded it to anybody, because that there is no way in the administration where ministers play a role in deciding on who adjudicate a tender of 30 million or 10 million. It doesn't arise.
But isn't this an attempt, or the illustration, rather, of an attempt to influence the procurement process? We know that we look at the prescripts of procurement policy and procedures. We know that the minister and deputy ministers, least of all, don't have any role to play in that process.
I mean, how do you influence procurement on that WhatsApp? Because it doesn't make sense what is written there.
I don't know, maybe you know.
Anyway, I haven't received it, but whoever wrote it, it does not have good intentions.
It's alleged here that that Sabia wrote it, and you say that doesn't
that Sabia wrote
indicate good. Yes, that's not good intentions.
If it's him who wrote it, really, I think he himself is confused about procurement processes, and I don't think he can write such a thing. To say any procurement of above 10 million needs the authority of the minister. If he doesn't know that you don't need something like that, I think it's problematic. But anyway, maybe I shouldn't comment more on it, because I don't know it. I didn't receive it. Yeah. If some DM has received it, I think that particular DM will have to clarify that. I did not.
And you obviously know Deputy Police Commissioner Sabia.
Yes, I do. But I'm not sure whether it's referred to her there. I don't know.
How well do you know him?
I know almost the same comments that the chair of the committee made here. She is from Sishio in Limpopo, in Polokwane. And she has been an activist for some time in the youth movement, and I've been a leader of the youth movement in the province since the 80s. Let me say since 1985.
Sorry, Deputy Minister, I hope you not misunderstand. I'm asking about Sabia.
Oh, Sabia. I thought you said, do you know? I said yes. I'm sorry.
No.
No, I'm sorry. It's near cancel. General, you are referring to General Sabia.
Sabia is a lot younger too.
General Sabia.
Yes.
No, I know him. He's the Deputy National Commissioner, Detectives. I know him.
What's your relationship with him?
Like all of them, I relate with all the police there, but nothing beyond that. Yeah. I relate with them very well, all of them. There is not a single officer that I don't relate with, all of them. And of course, I relate with them in terms of their ranks. Their chief is General Masemol, and the rest follow behind that, including provincial commissioners. I relate well. Like I said with you here earlier on, I don't have difficulties in working with people. If I'm given a task to work with anybody, that makes me to work under somebody or as somebody senior to that person, I don't have problems in working with people.
And Brown Mkhotsi?
Brown Mkhotsi, yeah, that is one that I don't know. I don't know that one. I've heard about him with these things that is happening, but
you didn't see him there on January the 8th.
January, there were many people there. If you don't relate with a specific person, when there are many people, there is no way that you will know who this one is. So I don't know him. I have never met him. Let me not say I have never met him, because you might find that I was in a space where he was as well, but I don't know him.
And the allegation that he was, he ran the president's election campaign?
Well, I don't know people who were running the president's election campaign. Okay, let me not generalize that. I don't know. I might know some, but generally speaking, I don't know who was doing what in the campaign. I was not in the center of the team, so the individuals involved, I don't know.
Because he's quite a well-known political operator within the party.
No. I think he's quite a well-known operator within the people that he works with, not within the party.
Prominent people within the party.
Well,
like the president.
Yeah, maybe
allegedly.
The ANC is an organization that have got all manner of people in it, and he is one of those individuals who are part of this body called the African National Congress, who do things that they are not reflective of what this organization is all about. And he can know leaders of the ANC, including knowing the president, but there is not a shred of evidence that he is ANC. He is a member, yes. He knows leaders, yes. They've influenced processes in the movement, yes. But that does not necessarily make them ANC.
Well, I recall, I think it was a week or two ago, he was interviewed. And he's a member of the ANC. And but the only issue was whether he was still a current member or whether it's expired. There's no doubt that he's a member of the ANC.
Yeah, look, I'm not questioning that. And I'm not saying he's not a member. I'm saying in the organization, you have got individuals who are part of this organization for motives beyond what this organization stands for. And Mkhotsi is one of those. And I will not say he is not a member. Even as I'm speaking now, I can't say he's not a member, I don't know. But he is that character that he is. And he's not the only one. There are quite a number of characters in there, because the ANC was engaged in a program to transform this country, to create a democratic dispensation. And there were those who believed in the cause that opposes this project. And they did everything possible to ensure that it does not succeed. And these elements are still there within the broader body called South Africa. And some of them, you find them within the organization who are not necessarily for the transformation, including institutions of government. And in our space, You know, the police were at the center of maintaining the apartheid machinery. And at the center of those were the security branch, who did not die when the new dispensation was created. And in fact, who became part of what we today call the South African Police Service. You have elements whose mandate and mission is to frustrate the democratic project. And the individuals like those, the character we're talking about, they fall in that category. But they have the same card that I have and the same card that all other members are having, but the intentions are not the same.
Okay. Now, we know from the evidence here thus far that you have, for example, General Masemola, Lieutenant General Mchunu on the one side, you have Minister Mchunu, Sabia on another side. In your statement, you say you're not aware of any factionalism in the police services.
Yeah. I maintain that. Rogue elements are rogue elements. In the South African police, we have men and women who serve with integrity. A week or two back, we were in this room leading a delegation of the South African police to present our annual performance plan. And of course, we were politely asked to come back the next day. We will be coming back here. I said to the chair, who incidentally happened to be the member of this committee, that yes, there are difficulties that we are going through in SAPS. But these difficulties does not mean that the South African Police Service is in disarray. It's intact and it's able to carry out its responsibilities. That's why we were ready and prepared to present to the committee. And of course, the chair will invite us at the appropriate date to go and present. The individuals that create problems in SAPS, in whatever form and shape, they remain individuals. They are not reflective of the organ called the South African Police, but they are individuals within the South African Police that are problematic. The democratic project is not supported by everybody, and you'll have elements who are against it. The fight against crime is a fight against individuals who do not want to do things the right way. And these individuals, they have got an interest in their own survival. And for them to survive, they must inflict pain to the instrument that is at the disposal of our people, in this case, the South African police. And they will want to contest, they will want to have influence, they will want to have people who are in their corner. I will not stand here, evidence leader, through you, Chair, and say that police, you don't have these elements. They are there. They are there. But I can't say we have got factions done. You know, if you say there is a General Masemola, General Mchunu one side, General Sivia and the minister one side, maybe the way you are putting it, I must agree with you that you might be having those, but those are not a definition of the South African police.
Honorable Chair, perhaps we'll inquire or interrogate this a bit further after lunch to discuss what you seem to describe as just a bad apple syndrome. And if you remove the bad apples, everything's going to be okay. I'm not sure that from what we've heard thus far, before this committee, that it's as simple as that?
No, it's not as simple as that.
But maybe we can discuss it better over after lunch.
Yeah.
Honorable Chair.
How much time do you need?
We at the tail end.
Yeah.
We at the tail end.
Yeah. The thing is, I want to prepare my members so that they must know that when we come back, they should be ready with questions. That's why I want to ask you, when we come back from break, we are going to break until 2 o'clock. When we come back from break, how much time will you need to conclude
That will be a maximum of 30 minutes.
Let's say 30 minutes to 1 hour.
No, it won't be 1 hour, it is 30 minutes.
I'm just being generous and flexible. So I want my members to be ready by 3 o'clock. Is that reasonable, members? By 3 o'clock, you should be ready. And you can see that the statement of today is not taking us 2 days. So even the time that the chair will allocate will not be 1 hour, 20 minutes. The chair will think about it, but will reasonably allocate time that will allow members to engage with the witness. Thank you so much. Let's break and come back at 14 hours.
Thank you, Chair.